Coming up on All About Android, we're going to discuss the impending release of Android Q. It could literally happen any moment. Also, turning ad views into app currency. Samsung Galaxy S10 and S10e. We've got some thoughts on that from our guest Adam Dowd from Android Authority. Moto G7 hands-on from Ron. Google is spring cleaning, and we're not so okay with it. Niantic's Harry Potter Wizards Unite game is near, and so much more. All About Android is next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by IT Pro TV, providing effective training with access to virtual labs and practice tests. Visit go.itpro.tv/allaboutandroid to take advantage of their lowest prices of the season. For an additional 30% off of the lifetime of your active subscription, you'll want to use the code AAA30 at checkout. And by Calm, the #1 app that helps reduce stress and anxiety. Stress is a part of life, but it can very easily affect our overall well-being. Receive 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/allaboutandroid. And by Aftershok's unbelievably comfortable open-ear headphones. Hear music and crystal clear phone calls like never before. Visit aaa.aftershokks.com and use code AAA for $50 off the tech bundle. Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 411, recorded on Tuesday, March 12th, 2019. Your weekly source for latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
And I'm Flo11. I've got the 411 for you.
Nice.
Information.
Nice. I didn't make that connection. That's good. Have you ever called yourself the Flo11 before?
No, actually, that was the first time I did that. But
I feel like
now I need to adopt that.
I feel like you probably have a long list of things that your name just works perfectly
BRB,
into.
I need to trademark that.
Yeah, or at least buy it, on Hover. Joining us today, first time on the show, Adam Dowd, who is the producer and host of the Android Authority podcast. Adam, how the heck are you?
The heck, I am great. I'm excited to be here. This is really exciting. I've never been ahead on a TV before.
Well, it's almost as if you're sitting at the table with us, right? Like it's literally magic. We have a TV set placed next to us on set, and there you are. And yeah, it's almost like having you sitting right next to us. Thanks for joining us.
I just need the little remote control so I can drive around and say hi to people.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Anytime we invite a guest on, we have a web portal that you can, tap into, hook it up to a touch screen and wheel around the studios if you were here. Good idea, Flo?
Could be disruptive.
Okay, could be disruptive. And also, by the way, Ron, you are here today. We are super psyched to have you for the episode today.
It's good to be back. I was very psyched to be able to join. My little ones are out at their grandparents with their mother, so I got a pass to come onto the show again. So that's pretty good. So
grandparents are the best.
I can see in the background that there is baby gear creep happening.
Accoutrement. There's some bassinets. There's some stuff behind there. Yeah, but for the most part, we're still we're rocking the one bedroom in a major metropolitan city. It hasn't fully taken over yet.
Yeah. You're doing good.
Bless you guys. Oh my gosh.
Yes, I know, right? Well, it's awesome to get you back, man.
Good to be back.
Before we jump in, Flo, you have thoughts on something. Tell us your thoughts.
I had a thought. And I wanted to save it for the show.
All right.
But so daylight savings was this last weekend, and I completely forgot about it. And I actually didn't remember that daylight savings had happened until I got into my car yesterday. And that's when I realized.
Wow. A little late
everything
to the game.
in my house, every clock I have is automated now.
Oh, right. You don't have to think about it.
Because I have smart displays that display the time now in the house. If I need the time and anywhere else, I just ask Google for the time.
Yeah.
And my phone, everything's perfectly automated.
So you didn't have to go through the whole, do I set it before I go to sleep or do I set it when I wake up?
I didn't even have the next day jitters where you wake up and you're afraid. I just woke up and it was nothing changed, and I just thought it was interesting.
That's awesome.
That's solid.
I've
got the TicWatch Pro, and it has that second screen. The low power second screen, and it was funny because all day Sunday, the second screen, the low power screen, was an hour off while the watch face itself had updated properly.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
I have no idea how that worked, but it was fascinating.
So then did the second screen ever catch up and be like, oh, yeah, I guess this happened here?
It must have at some point last night. Or like into Monday or something. Yeah, it took a long time, though.
Right, because of the way it's like coded or whatever. Interesting.
And if you set an alarm on your TicWatch, is it drawing from the clock on the front or the back in order to wake you up in time?
I was told there would be no math.
That's true. There's no math. These are just questions we throw out there. Maybe someone from the TicWatch team will email us at AAA@twit.tv and let us know. Who the heck knows? I, for one, on daylight saving day or whatever, Saturday night as I was going to sleep, had to set the was worried basically whether I had to set the clock on my phone or not. I knew that I didn't need to set it, but I actually had to wake up at 4:30 new time, which is 3:30 body time, and I couldn't risk missing it. So I was a little scared as I went to sleep. That's
understandable.
But thankfully it all worked out. I was still very tired all day.
I just thought it was interesting. An observation I had.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Your house is the future.
Well, also because I didn't realize that the rest of the world doesn't have automated clocks. And so
doesn't have
I went into
homes.
Someone's office yesterday and their clocks were all backwards.
Yeah. Definitely don't look at the clock in the studio. Don't look up there because that clock is woefully behind. Wow. A constant reminder of what time it was even a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it's a constant reminder of the past.
All right. With that, let's talk about some news, Victor.
One thing I always set my clock to is Android news.
Yeah, set it.
Well done. Topical.
Yeah, you can bank on Android news happening at 5:29 Pacific every single Tuesday.
Every hour on the hour.
Yes.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere around it.
Traffic on the 8s. All right. So let's get right into the news. I go away for a couple weeks. I come back and I get the meaty stories to talk about. But mainly, I don't know about you guys, but I'm on the edge of my seat along with the rest of the Android enthusiast community because Android Q is going to come out at any possible moment.
Maybe.
In fact, it could be out. We should check right now because it could have been released. I don't think it has, but you never know. It could have happened. Basically, this whole flurry over the release of Android Q started when XDA noticed that Google opened the bug tracker to check for Android Q beta bugs created on and after March 11th, which was, as of this recording, yesterday, which means that its release could be imminent if they're open the bug tracker for anything on or after March 11th. And if we go back in time, not an hour, but to last year, you might remember that on March 7th, that's the date when Android P's dev preview release came out. So we're already beyond that date in terms of year over year, but we're right in the zone. We're right into Android Q land. It could happen any day now.
Anticipation is building.
Yeah, and actually to go even further than that, Project Treble engineer Ilyan Malchev was on a podcast this past week on the Android Developers Backstage podcast episode 110 and mentioned that Android Q Beta DP2, which is likely coming out in a few months from now, would hit even more brands and devices than last year. And last year it went out on Essential, Nokia, OnePlus, Oppo, Sony, Vivo, and Xiaomi phones. And then in addition to all this, Google will now include a new Android beta feedback app along with the dev preview to encourage feedback and report issues. So Android Q coming at any moment. At some point, it will likely be on even more phones than last year. And now there's a new way to give feedback on the beta. It's amazing. Adam, if you had to pick a day it's going to come out, what day? Do you think it's going to be today, tomorrow, Thursday? When is it going to come out?
It's funny because I've actually listened to 3 different podcasts, all giving 3 different dates as to when the update was going to drop, including Android Authority, which was guessing yesterday. I'm guessing tomorrow. I've done some further research on this today, and apparently there was today is Tuesday, right? Yes, so tomorrow. I read one thread on Reddit that said there was a Google developers calendar that had an entry on it that says like Google Google Beta OTA or something like that scheduled for tomorrow. So, would be the silliest way for that information to leak out, but I'm on board.
Circled with a big red
welcome to-
marker around it, right? Just
Yeah.
a giant red circle. OTA.
Welcome to the Android community. We look for every little sliver to act as a clue.
The backup to the theory that it's going to come out tomorrow, Adam, would be the fact that it is the day after the show comes out.
Yes, true.
And as we know, Google loves to release things when we have to wait a week to talk about it. So
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I think it's going to come out on Thursday.
Oh.
And that's because Thursday is March 14th, which is Pi Day. And that's the day we thought it was going to come out last year. And they're going to troll us and go, ha, we did it this year.
Yeah.
That would be some serious trolling.
That would.
I like the nerd angle, though. That's solid.
Well, I mean, last year I was convinced that it was going to come out on Pi Day, so I should be on board with that too as well, Ron. Actually, I'm not going to. I'm going to say that's not going to happen. That will ensure that it will happen.
There you go. You know how to play the odds.
Yes, exactly. One of us is going to be right, maybe. Who knows? It might not even come out this week.
I'm Switzerland. I'm neutral.
No comment from Flo. I am curious to see if the back button is still present on Android Q, so we'll find that out when that happens. Maybe that's one of those things, though, that they don't include in the first
very last one.
dev preview, and then it comes later, and you're like, there it is. I don't know.
Surprise! No back button.
Yeah, but there have been rumors that was going to happen in Android Q. So
with this whole revelation about it appearing on more devices other than Essential, Nokia, OnePlus, Oppo, Sony, Vivo, and Xiaomi, who's left? Is it going to be? Are they going to add HTC, Motorola? They're not going to add Samsung. They're not going to add Samsung. I can't imagine that.
No, Huawei, maybe.
LG, maybe.
LG,
Motorola.
Yeah. I mean, that's good news, though. I like that. I appreciate that Google's able to kind of open it up and get some of these device makers on board with that. So.
And so before we move on, Adam, we need to ask you, what dessert do you think it's going to be named after?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Oh, I'll put him on the spot.
I just listened to to one of your episodes where you're talking about this, and I thought to myself, man, I should come up with something just in case they ask.
Problem is there's nothing.
I mean, quiche or quinoa are really the only foods that come to mind, and they're not even desserts. Yeah. So I got nothing. I guessed on, what was my guess for P? I don't remember, but it was awesome. And it wasn't that. So I guess I should just pull myself out of the running.
It's okay. Bleak is repeating in the chat room that Android Quick has a nice ring to it. And I would agree. And that is a delicious drink.
It's a global brand, too, because it's Nestle, and they're huge.
And I mean, when was the last time that Google did an official brand pairing with
Kit
Android?
Kat.
So I guess
Kit Kat.
It would be Kit Kat.
Oreo.
Well, Oreo. Yeah, it would be Oreo.
Was Oreo official?
Right. How could you forget our year of Oreo?
We tried very hard.
I mean,
therapy is how we forgot about our year of Oreo. So who knows? They took a year off with something very plain like pie, and with Q, they're back.
Pie is not plain.
I just mean like I just mean not
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
consumery.
Well.
This whole dessert naming convention was probably one of the least forward-thinking things that Google has ever done, because every year they have to be like, what are we going to do next year? Good Lord, what starts with Q?
I think they're still talking about it.
I feel like it's a pretty good. It was a pretty good strategy. I just don't think that they put too much thought into the 1 or 2 letters in the alphabet where it would be really incredibly
Maybe they
difficult.
never thought they'd get this far.
Yeah, maybe not.
What I think is really funny, and I can share. I mean, I don't mean to embarrass anybody here, but I'll put it in the chat. I found an article from 2013 that one Florence Ion worked on, where they picked the dessert names for all the future versions of Android.
Oh,
I just now remember I did this article.
Yes, and what I think is really funny is that I went. It's a slideshow, of course, because clicks and
it was 2013. Those were sign of the times.
And I will give you credit that you did predict Oreo for and
nice.
you
predicted nougat.
And you skipped Q. You went from peppermint straight to red velvet. You're just like, they're not going to use Q.
Still, I like your description. I like your definition around this, though. Still reeling from the failure of the Nexus Q, Google decides to spurn the subtle yet flavorful appeal of quince
Good job,
jelly.
Past Flow. That was clever.
And skip to the letter R for its next. Well, this is a reality we have not considered on this show. Maybe they do skip Q because Nexus Q is a bad connotation.
Well, also Q is not on the number pad on the telephone.
Yeah, I was gonna say they'll skip it just like the number pad.
Wow.
Q's not on a number pad on a telephone?
Yeah. So if you wanted to call somebody like 1-800-555-QUICK with a Q, you couldn't.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
They usually put
like,
on
I just
0
learned
or
something.
9.
Oh.
Fascinating.
Now I feel like I need to check it. But
I was a weird kid. I spent a lot of time looking at stuff on phones. I don't know why, but I remember learning.
Well, now I should show my. I'm trying to do this without showing any contacts. Hold on. Okay. So take the overhead. Number
Sometimes they do
7
it.
appears to have a Q, but
well,
that's
now it does, but this is a virtual
Right.
number pad. We're talking about 90s.
We're talking about T9, baby. Come
Yeah,
on.
early 2000s
Okay. All
number
right,
pad.
All right.
You know, on the Pac Bell phones.
Gotcha. Okay. This is like legacy omission is the letter Q.
Yeah.
So it's not like Q is going to be upset because Q's used to getting ejected.
I'm just proud of my joke that I made
I know.
like
Yeah.
6 years ago.
I know.
Not me.
It's good writing. Has a nice flow to it, Flo.
Thanks.
All right, Flo, you got the next story.
You know what else could have a nice flow to it if you don't immediately recognize that it's a robot is Google Duplex.
Yes.
So actually, Google Duplex is now in 43 states, which sounds like amazing, but let's also consider that a lot of these places are like one city in a state. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's like statewide, but it is exciting to just kind of think of the fact that Google Duplex is now, it's kind of living in the wild. It started out in most of the basic places, New York, Atlanta, Phoenix, here in the SF Bay. But now with those 43 states, you've got it all the way you've got it all around the East Coast, the South, the West Coast. If I recall correctly from the number of states that it's not included in, I think like Minnesota, Idaho, Kentucky, I think Tennessee was on the list, and I think Texas don't have Duplex, if I recall correctly from the long list. But if you...
Wonder what it is. What is the reason?
I'm thinking it has to do with legalities.
Okay.
Something to do with a robot calling you.
Oh. So I wonder if it will ever end up being there or if it's just a short-term thing.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because then why is it fine in California? Because we have very stringent laws about recording and such here. But I'm sure Google figured out a way to make that work, it being their home state.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting, and this will work with any restaurants that don't have like an online booking mechanism that's available. You can try to see. I mean, call around.
Call around with your Duplex, see if it works. Book it.
I read one article that suggested that if there is an online booking option available, then Google Assistant will default to that before making the phone call. So that might still work.
That makes sense, especially if you're a restaurant that's like already committed to something or invested in something. I would be angry as a manager to have Google come in and be like, no, we're
use
gonna
ours
default it.
instead.
Yeah.
Although it's just a call.
But I got an issue with that because I can't tell you the number of times I've gotten tables at restaurants that use OpenTable or Resi.
Yeah.
And and on the site nothing was available, and I called and I put on the charm and I got a table. Right?
That still works?
Oh sure. They can. There's always room to work systems.
Even in New York.
Yeah, it depends on the restaurant. I mean, I've also gotten laughed at, so it doesn't,
Right.
I mean, like
Worst they can say is no.
Yeah, the charm did not work at Carbone, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But no, but every now and then you'd be like, hey, so it's a birthday and it was our favorite restaurant. Could you any way you can squeeze us in? And there's that personal touch. And now I don't think Duplex could do the Duplex isn't nearly as charming as I am, but
It's true.
I think on one hand I think it's incredibly smart to default to the reservation system, but that always isn't the total truth of the availability of tables. And so.
That's true.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. This is only on the Pixel 3 for now, so if you don't have that phone, sorry, I teased you for nothing. I kind of buried the lead there. But it will soon roll out to other Android devices and even iPhones. So those of you who happen to be watching with an Apple phone in your hand, maybe someday soon a robot will be helping you book a reservation for your next wedding anniversary.
That's romantic.
Right? Honey, I helped book this with the help of a robot.
I had no time.
The
honey.
robot suggested I get you these flowers and wear this color shirt.
Right. And write this email.
And yes. And
robot
actually, the
wrote this
robot
email
wrote
to
it
you.
for me.
Yes,
I just had to click the words that I wanted on there.
For some people, though, that is totally setting the mood. I'm just saying.
It's the equivalent of that. Never mind. I was going to say that button that couple made.
What?
There's like a button
continue.
to like let your spouse know you're in the mood. It's like it was so.
Oh,
silly.
that whole thing. Oh.
Silly.
Our button's in storage.
Learning so much on this episode of All About Android.
It's the 411 episode.
That's true. Yes, we're sounding alarms left, right, and center. Google created a new product type for developers. If you happen to be a developer, you may already have been doing this if you are a developer of a game, because I know I've seen it in games already. Google's kind of putting their own official spin on it. They call it rewarded products. And this is when, if you've ever been playing a game and then suddenly it gives you that little like watch an ad and, earn coins or whatever. And so you make the choice as the player, like, is 100 coins worth a 30-second ad of my attention? Or you just hit play and, flip your eggs and then come back and it's done and you've got 100 coins. Well, apparently developers have been able to pull this off, obviously, because it's in games. Google's making a more official way to do this. They call it rewarded products, which is basically, how in-app items are awarded to players through viewing an ad. They're starting with ad viewing with like a video that's playing, but apparently they're making it really easy for developers to implement this. It's in the Play console. It's in an open beta. They say the method is simpler than the way that developers were doing this prior. There's no extra SDK integration required. So, yay, more ways for developers to make money, right? Support your devs.
Is this going to streamline, if this helps streamline the user experience with pop-ups, I am totally fine with that. Because sometimes I'll be in a game that I really enjoy and they'll have like a finicky ad network or something that is just kind of buggy-ish.
So
and then that takes away from the game because the game could be good, but maybe they just chose a bad, ad circle or whatever.
I mean, I know that Google set out a while back, I feel like it was a couple of years ago, to tweak these full takeover ads inside apps and really kind of define where the X should appear and all this kind of stuff. It's still, I feel like it's still a mess. Like when that happens, you're still like searching around. It's still super intrusive. I guess, I mean, it's a takeover ad. So what do you expect? But do you like this type of monetization? Like I have found myself playing a game and I get the opportunity to earn 100 coins or what, I'm just using that as an example, but sure, I'll play the ad because sometimes that allows me to get the thing that I'm looking for. And I'm probably like, I'm not the kind of person to pay for in-app purchases, but I'll watch an ad for 100 coins. Sure. What do you guys think? Do you use this ever?
Oh yeah, I would totally do that. Yeah, I'm notoriously cheap as well. So anything that I can do to avoid forking over my credit card number, that's a win for me. And like you said, hit the play button, set it down, go pet the dog, come back, and you're ready to roll. Exactly.
Cool.
They are going to discuss this a little bit more at GDC.
Oh, right, because that's right around the
They
corner.
actually this is a slight side note from the developers blog. So anybody who's listening out there who happens to be coming to the Bay for GDC very soon, there will be a Google Mobile Developer Day. So I feel like we should keep our ears perked up that week, and
There's gonna
maybe
be
we'll be
something.
hearing some more kind of developer-centric stuff towards games and monetization of games.
Well, and also, I mean, it should be noted that Google has a keynote.
Yeah, right.
And actually, Leo and I are going to be doing live coverage of that because they're going to be streaming it. So when is this keynote? I'm looking for it right now.
I believe it's the last week of March.
It is GDC keynote next Tuesday, March 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, so it's next Tuesday.
Is Google's keynote from GDC, and they're very much expected to do some sort of announcement around Project Stream. And I don't know if that's Ron Amadio actually put out a Twitter post earlier today saying, here's all it needs to be. someone walks out and says, hey, you know that Bluetooth that exists inside newer Chromecast models? Your Chromecast is now a video game system. Mic drop, exit scene, just basically saying that like this Project Stream, which is streaming video games, through straight video over the internet to a computer. Right now it's being done in Chrome browsers, but that could, what is the possibility of that happening to a Chromecast and the Bluetooth inside the Chromecast being your controller connection? Suddenly everybody has a console, basically.
On Live Part 2.
Yeah.
On Live
right,
Redo.
Yeah, exactly. Redux.
It was a good idea. I just
Electric
wonder if
Boogaloo.
it came a little too early for us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So anyways, so that's happening next Tuesday. So surely next Tuesday's show, we'll be talking about whatever they talk about there.
Well, at least they planned it on a Tuesday.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks,
they were
Google.
thinking of us. Thank you, Google.
I wonder if that will coincide with Q's release.
Yeah, right.
Never know.
That would be an interesting coupling if they tied some sort of big game console announcement into Q, baked it in somehow.
Maybe. Stranger things have happened.
That's true. That's true.
All right. We got an email. So it's good to hear from you, the All About Android community. We love it when you write in. And Brian H. writes in and says, I hear it said often that you should back up your phone. I've been using PCs for decades, and I know how important it is to back them up, so it seems to follow logically that backing up a phone would be equally important. But what is on a smartphone that anyone really needs to back up? All the apps I have on my phone came from the Google Store, so I can just re-download them again. Photos and videos that I took are automatically backed up into the cloud. Emails on Google servers, if you use Gmail or another cloud-based email service. Right. Passwords are in LastPass or another password management system. LastPass is great. Sponsor. The only thing I can think of is some configuration settings. The reason I ask is I'm thinking of doing a device wipe to hopefully fix some recurring unexplained app crashes, and I don't want to lose anything. And Brian, you're absolutely right to ask that question. As someone who switches phones a lot, I think I speak for all of us, the need to back up your phone, like I'm rarely storing physical media on my phone anymore or documents or anything. That some stuff is in the cloud, but I mean, I'm a digital hoarder, and I don't want to lose a single text message I ever got. That's something that I've backed up before. All those app settings and things like that. There are things baked into your phone that you don't even realize don't transfer over when you do a restore from the cloud or install all apps. Like various settings you have, or and all that stuff. Google's gotten a lot better about it. Every time you switch a phone, like I'm impressed that I'm not re-entering my Wi-Fi password. That's just transferring over. But there's always seems like there's something that I miss when I install a new phone. And honestly, the answer really seems to be Helium, which is a fantastic app by friend of the show, the maker of Clockwork Mod. But Helium is really one of the best app. And how he describes it is app sync and backup solution. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to not only back up all things on your phone, like SMS messages and your accounts and your logs and your contacts and all things like that, but it also takes all of your app settings and puts them up to the cloud so that when you switch phones, you can sync them and you get the same settings you had on the previous install. So Helium is kind of the way to go. They'll cover all your bases. But you're right. The need to do a full backup on a phone has gotten less and less, it seems like, with every year. I mean, or am I wrong? I mean, Jason, Flo, Adam, what do you guys think? Is that do you even bother with Helium or any sort of backup?
I never back up anymore.
Me either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, the only thing I can think of would be is if you have like music installed on your phone, like to play locally while you're working out, even though nobody works out anymore. But I mean, yeah, that would be the only thing that I could. I actually gave this question some thought earlier today. I'm just like, I got nothing except for music. That's about it. But yeah, you're right. Everything else is in the cloud.
There are very few things that end up on my phone that aren't synced to the cloud. Like I have an audio, like a sound recorder. I've talked about on the show before, like if I get if in the past, at times anyways, I don't do this recently, but there have been times where like I get an idea or, maybe it's a song idea or maybe it's like a thought and I want to record a thought, just kind of have it in audio. I'll do that and that'll save to the device. But there are even apps that you can do that and have them automatically upload to your Google Drive.
Recording app automatically uploads to Dropbox for me every time any recording.
So obviously the answer to this really just depends on how much stuff you do on your phone that actually does save to the device. And if that's nothing, then backup's probably not necessary. But I would recommend going through your apps list at least. If you plan on erasing,
100%.
just take the time to go through your apps list and really scrutinize what you have there, because there might be an app within there that you're like, oh, wait a minute, you know what? I did use that for this thing. I don't want to lose it, and it doesn't go to the cloud. At least take the 10 minutes to kind of like scrutinize what you have there before you blow it all out and you can't go back.
And make sure you have the password for those apps too.
Yeah.
So that when you restore the apps, you can get into them.
Yeah, right. Well, it sounds like he has LastPass, so that'll help with that.
Oh, that's right.
In that regard.
That's right.
So that's a good way to do that. Cover your bases there. So
I do use SMS backup restore purely just for backing up my SMS messages.
Yeah.
And that's all it does. It can do other stuff, but all I do is to back up SMS, and then WhatsApp has its own backup service, so it backs up everything there. But yeah, everything else I let it ride. I let it ride. So
I see it as a way to start fresh every single time, which is probably something I need to do on my Pixel 3 because the thing's getting slower and slower.
Yep.
Fun times.
Well,
Fun times
when you
indeed.
have the Arena phone.
What's that?
When you have the Arena phone.
The Arena phone?
Well, yeah, you have the phone that all the apps go on for the Arena.
Well, I see what you mean. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm installing an insane amount of apps
Yeah.
on this phone. Yeah. So, yeah, I do it for you guys. I do it for you. You.
No.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you. I'm talking to all of you out there. Victor cut to me right now, so I feel like I need to, talk to you. If we could do a slow push-in, I would. No, don't do it.
Make
don't do it.
love to the camera.
Going down a path.
But I'm not reading the sponsor read. Ron
No.
is. So Ron,
I
go
am.
for it.
And you don't want to do a slow push on me, but we want to thank our first sponsor of the evening, IT Pro TV, for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. And you might wonder, what is IT Pro TV? Well, experienced IT professionals who deliver comprehensive training at the click of your mouse. Spring is almost here, and there's never been a better time than now to take advantage of their lower prices ever. Lowest prices ever, mind you. You can purchase a standard membership where you get video only for $28.50 a month, and you can upgrade to the premium membership, which gives you video plus labs and practice tests for $42 a month. But wait, you can save even more. IT Pro TV is still honoring our special offer, 30% off for Twit listeners. That drops the standard membership to only $19.95 a month, or $199 a year, and the premium to $29.50 a month, or $295 a year. That's $29.50 per month, or $295 per year. With that, you can stream IT Pro TV's courses live and on demand worldwide via Chromecast, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, PC, or their iOS, or of course, Android apps. And listen, they've got new content added daily, so your training is always aligned with the latest certifications and the most current exams. Episodes go from studio to web in 24 hours. IT Pro TV is CompTIA's official video training partner. 12 CompTIA on-demand courses, including CompTIA A+, Network Plus, and Security Plus certs. So listen, you're going to go to go.itpro.tv/allaboutandroid and use code AA30 to get started with your standard or premium membership today. So don't let another season pass you by without earning your IT certifications. If you work in IT, you know how important those certifications are, and this is the best way to stay on top of it. That's go.itpro.tv/allaboutandroid. And don't forget to use code AA30 for an additional 30% off for the lifetime of your active subscription. IT Pro TV, flexible training, binge-worthy content, life-changing results. Thanks, IT Pro TV, for sponsoring All About Android.
Thank you, IT Pro TV.
Hey.
We appreciate you. All right. And with that, it's time for some hardware. Oh, yeah.
So it's the hardware that's on everybody's mind.
Yeah, this was like release week.
Yeah. It was release week. Release week for none other than the Samsung Galaxy S10.
Yeah.
So we haven't had a chance to really tinker with it much beyond, the nice little event.
Yeah. Well, you were at the event, so you got to have some first
Yes.
hand, hands-on time with it.
But Adam and his team were able to actually get down and dirty with it.
Oh.
Yes. Take it out.
yeah.
into the streets.
That kind of party.
Our veritable boots on the ground. Adam, on the last Android Authority podcast, you, David Immel, and Jimmy Westenberg all talked about your experience with the respective devices that you were reviewing. So if I understand it, one of you took the S10 Plus, one of you took the S10, and one of you took the S10e. Do you mind walking us through some of the highlights of some of those phones? Like what? I think the most important question to kind of start off with is, how do you know which one to buy? Because there's 3 of them now, which is like a lot of choice. And when you look at them, they're not like extremely different from one another.
That's true.
Right. No, it is a paradox of choice because there's a lot of different options. You know, we have the Galaxy S10 Plus and we have the Galaxy S10e in the team. We don't have the Galaxy S10. And the overall impressions of the phone. Okay, well, first of all, how do you know which one to buy? That largely depends on whether or not you're looking for the third camera, which, if I remember correctly, is the telephoto camera. And that's the big difference between the S10e and the other 2 options, aside from $250. So that's really the big question that you have to ask yourself is, do you want the bigger battery? Do you want the third camera? Do you want the second selfie camera on the front, which actually, according to David Immel, is not all that necessary because the wide angle view is not all that much wider than the normal selfie camera. We're talking about on the front, not on the back. So
that's still wasted space.
It is. And what I love about the Galaxy S10 is the whole subculture that has developed of wallpapers for the front screen cameras and the number. We've got the Wally papers. I've seen a C3PO wallpaper. I've just seen so many delightful. There was a Big Hero, I think, had one. There was some.
It was short
delightful
circuit one.
Wallpapers.
I saw a short
circuit.
Yeah, that was a good one.
There's delightful wallpapers out there that take advantage of that punch hole screen.
Totally.
So overall, the impressions on the Galaxy S10 are it's one of the best phones that Samsung has ever made, which is a bit of a cliche at this point.
Right.
But there's 2 pretty big caveats on that. Now, in the Adam Dowd world of smartphones, there are 2 things that you can do to your phone, that you can sabotage on your phone, that will drive me absolutely nuts. One is the fingerprint sensor, and the other one is the camera. And lo and behold, the 2 biggest criticisms that have come out of the Galaxy S10, the Galaxy S10 Plus, and the Galaxy S10e reviews are the fingerprint sensor, which I've seen it described everywhere from not bad to hot mess.
Yeah, that's a spectrum.
Yeah, right. And the camera is just okay. Now, in my world, the camera being just okay, and this holds up on the Galaxy S10 Plus and on the Galaxy S10e. In my world, the Samsung cameras have always been the premium reason to buy a Samsung phone from the Galaxy S6 up. You know, when I had the Galaxy S6, I contacted our lead reviewer. I was at a different outlet at the time, but I reached out to him and I'm like, is the camera really this good, or am I like completely insane? And he's like, no, dude, it's.
I remember
that
those
good.
days. It was really good back then. The S6 in particular.
The bar was changed too. You know.
Yeah.
And the Galaxy S9 was just mind-blowingly fantastic, and for the Galaxy S10 to not be is just such a major failure. It's not just dropping the ball, it's dropping the ball and running after it and kicking it in front of yourself like a 5-year-old. I mean, it's that bad.
So explain what's bad about it. Like, is it just like a sharpness, like when you're comparing photos taken with the 9 to the 10, like what is the big difference that makes you go, wow, this feels like a reversion of some sort?
The low light performance in particular is very grainy. The highlights where there's a single light on in the distance, that just gets completely blown out. Whereas in the past, there has been less graininess, less distortions, less yuck in the dark areas of a low light photo, and the lights that have been on have been adequately filter. I'm not a camera geek, so I apologize for my lack of technical terminology. But basically, where there is a light on, it's completely blown out and you lose all detail.
Okay.
There's also some issues with the wide angle lens. You can actually see on your screen right now, we've got that cathedral, and the middle of the cathedral is like all squished together, and like the outsides of the photos are kind of bulging out a little bit, which is actually like the reverse of what a normal wide angle camera usually does. It usually goes the other way with that.
Yeah.
So it's just overall, it's not terrible. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say that this is like, a phone that's coming off, or a camera that's coming off a $200 phone. But these are the types of photos that I would expect to take when I'm reviewing phones, because I don't review the good phones. So I review the decidedly mid-range phones, and these are the kind of photos that I generally end up with. I expect more from Samsung, to be perfectly honest.
I wonder if it's just everything is being like extremely processed, because that is like I haven't had much time with the phone, but just knowing Samsung's history of having that intense processing that's happening, making pictures sharper, making them more contrasted, and kind of leveling them out. I wonder if they're actually they're blowing out light because of that.
Yeah. Right. And the good news is if that is the case, then this is fixable. Then Samsung can put out a couple of updates, which will, sharpen things up, make things, tighter, as we like to say. So, and it's very possible if Samsung does that, then this could be, this could go back up to that next level again. But it just right now, that's kind of where it is.
We're living in the era of the Pixel. We're living in post-Pixel era, rather. So post image processing, post all the magic of the way the Pixel takes photos, and I kind of feel like that is the bar now to kind of that's the bar that's been set, and it's been set by Google proper.
And in this era, that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Where you are right now, you can't have a camera that doesn't perform. We're in the Instagram era right now, so
100 people. I mean, there are workshops devoted to just teaching you how to run your business with just your phone, and it's because your phone is supposed to be able to do all the stuff, like take the pictures, handle all the processing, do all the graphic stuff. I mean, that's the kind of power that we have in our hands, and it's a bummer to hear, especially because this year it felt like Galaxy S10s, we're going to pack on all this stuff into it. And so it just kind of feels like, okay, well, now you're charging $250 more for the phone for this extra feature that just doesn't sound like it's getting a lot of good sentiments around it.
Right. Right. And we could talk about the fingerprint sensor for an entire podcast
please.
if you'd like.
Well, not for an entire podcast, but I do want to hear about the fingerprint sensor. I mean, we have experience with the OnePlus 6T now. And so can you kind of talk
Which sets a very low bar.
It does, but it's fast. And so I'm curious to see how Samsung's method kind of works in the real world.
Okay, so the primary difference between the OnePlus 6T, just a real quick overview for those who may not be familiar, is the Samsung Galaxy S10 is using an ultrasonic in-screen fingerprint sensor, which is different than the OnePlus 6T, which is an optical sensor. So the fingerprint sensor is it's Qualcomm tech, and it's actually using sound waves to detect the ridges on your finger. It's supposed to work when your finger's dirty or when your finger's wet, stuff like that. It's not the first ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, but it's the first one in screen, at least according to Qualcomm back in December when they were doing their Hawaii thing. So I reviewed the Honor 10, which also used an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, and that was not very good either. Probably slightly better than the OnePlus 6T, but still, it's just when you take. And so with Samsung, when Samsung announced that they were going to have the in-screen ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, I was a little tentative because I've had in-screen fingerprint sensors. I've had ultrasonic sensors. Neither of them were very good. I'm not sure what you're going to get when you put them back together. And as it turns out, it's not that the problem is mainly accuracy. It's not really speed. It's the accurate detection of the fingerprint itself.
Yeah.
So you put the finger on, nothing happens. You do it again, maybe it catches at that time. Now, when it does work, it works great. but it's just a question of getting it to work initially. That's the problem. And we've seen that same result on the Galaxy S10 Plus and the Galaxy S10e. I've seen multiple reviewers across the Twitter sphere all largely panning the fingerprint sensor. And Samsung has actually put out updates hoping to fix some of those issues. And from what I understand, they've helped. But now with the Galaxy S10e does have the capacitive fingerprint sensor on the side of the phone, which does not have those problems. So the capacitive sensor on the side of the phone, it not only is it as good as most side-mounted fingerprint sensors, which is to say pretty darn good, maybe not as awesome as... I'm so picky when it comes to fingerprint sensors. I'm sorry. I unlock my phone 100 times a day.
Exactly.
So
it should be fast.
Yeah. So now, and the side-mounted fingerprint sensor actually has a couple of tricks to it where you can slide down on the fingerprint sensor to open your notification shade, similar to what you can do with some rear-mounted fingerprint sensors. So that's kind of cool. And it has been found to be pretty fast and pretty accurate. The one downside that Jimmy noted with the fingerprint sensor was you need to cover basically the whole thing in order for it to register. And that problem is exacerbated by the fact that the fingerprint sensor is very high up on the phone, and it's already a pretty tall phone. So you have to kind of shift your grip in order to fully cover the fingerprint sensor. So that could just be I've run into that myself with some side-mounted sensors. It's not great, but it tends to be more accurate than the in-screen stuff that I've had to deal with.
It's an important thing, though, to note that the button is so high up because those of us with smaller hands, if we're on transit holding on with the other, the last thing we want to do is slide.
And a lot of the reviews across the internet say that just across the board, all the Samsung Galaxy S10 power buttons are too high up. So I mean, it's not a minor thing, but it's still a thing.
It's the kind of thing that for me, I give a fingerprint sensor 3 times before I get frustrated. Like, oh, they didn't get it. Oh, let me try again. I got to do it a 3rd time, and then I'm like, screw this, and I go and put in my code. And it's little things like that that can make you not love a device.
Yeah.
Like the power button being just out of reach is the thing that reminds you every time. Count how many times you hit that power button in an hour. Right? If you get a strain to reach it, that's going to annoy you. You're not going to love the phone.
Now, that being said, the Galaxy S10 and all different variants of the Galaxy S10 are really well designed. Samsung has taken all the best parts of the Note design and all the best parts of the S design and put them all together into the Galaxy S10. So what you end up with is a very Note-like device where it's a little bit more squared off than previous generations of the S devices, and the Infinity Edge, I believe is what they call it. The size of the screen isn't as pronounced curved as it has been in the past, but the functionality, like the edge display is still there. So swiping in from the edge and getting your shortcuts over from the side, that's still there. So that's awesome. The design of the phone is still great. The software with One UI is top notch. Samsung did a really great job with One UI. The one criticism that we had about One UI was when you open a folder, the icons are still at the top of the folder. Just kind of seems like you missed the bus on that particular
weird.
option. But like everything else, like everything is supposed to be very reachable, down towards the bottom of the screen, so you can use your thumb to reach everything without having to either use 2 hands or shift your grip too much. So One UI is a really wonderful design. So from a design and software standpoint, Samsung is really nailing it. There's just a couple of little irritating downsides that if they can be fixed by software, then you've got a great device. But you have to wonder. And I was about to say you have to wonder, will the damage be done? But let's not fool ourselves by saying that this phone is not going to sell millions and millions and millions and millions of devices. But if this is the home run that Samsung needed to get itself out of its mobile division crisis, I'm not sure we're there.
No, but the Note is right around the corner. That's the thing with
Before
Samsung.
you know it, summer
every
will be
single
here.
5 or 6 months, they have the next thing, and the Note's going to solve some of these problems, and it's going to have its own little bag of tricks that it's going to add to, and
cost more.
That train, and cost more, and these already cost a lot. These
cost a lot of money.
And, it's important to remember that with the fingerprint sensor, we're still kind of like at the tail end of Gen 1 of these in-screen fingerprint sensors. In fact, the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is a Gen 1. This is, as far as I know, it's the first device that actually implements it at all. So this is not just Gen 1. This is almost practically a beta. So this will get better, fortunately. And I think, from the Vivo fingerprint sensor from CES 2018 up until now, we've already made a lot of progress. So it's only going to get better from here, which is good to keep in mind. It may not help you with this phone, but the next.
Absolutely. So you can read David Immel's review of the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and then Jimmy Westenberg has a 72 hours with the Galaxy S10e. Is Jimmy going to do a full review
Full review will be dropping later this week.
Awesome. So look for that at AndroidAuthority.com, and of course, the Android Authority podcast, this last episode where they were talking about their thoughts. If you want to kind of catch that, check that out as well. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate that, Adam.
Thank you.
Red. Let's talk a little bit about Red. Remember how that super expensive and long-awaited Red phone released finally after a lot of delays. And they told everyone to wait for the add-ons because they would be really special. Bad news. Apparently, any mention of those modules have been removed from the site.
Oh my gosh.
Rendering the pogo pins useless.
Yeah, I guess. Modules had promised to include at some point a high-quality cinema-grade camera module to be plugged in there, maybe battery packs, storage packs, that sort of stuff. Red hasn't said that they've necessarily given up on them, but the founder of Red, Jim Hennard, posted in the Hydrogen user forum to say that they were removed from the site because, quote, we are currently in the middle of radically changing the Hydrogen program. Cited obstacles and new discoveries that basically provide an opportunity for big changes. In other words, they promise a lot without any specifics. And I think this just kind of goes to show anytime we're talking about hardware, or anytime a company is saying, hey, here's some new hardware, a new phone, and there's a promise of future add-on hardware that is the reason that you might want to buy the phone, I would say at this point, buyer beware, because you just never know whether they're actually going to follow through on it. It turns out like this phone really wasn't that great to begin with. Like it almost needed those modules in order to be a great phone. And if nobody's buying the phone because it's not great, then why would they make the modules for the limited amount of people that actually have one? Maybe they'll surprise us and maybe they'll come out with a module, but buyer beware on that. If the reason you're buying it is for things that will attach to it at some future point down the line, you got to ask yourself whether it's worth it.
I was just gonna say this is like when somebody promises you things and doesn't deliver.
Yeah,
it's rude.
That's exactly it.
It's rude.
I love the whole. We're just gonna delete the mentions. It never happened. Like
we've decided. Yeah, I know, to just remove it from.
That's
there.
how Red gets rid of relationships in its life. It just ghosts things.
Red is a ghoster, huh?
Yeah, Red is a ghoster. You don't. Some of those companies, they're harsh. They're way harsh, Ty.
I got my start in the mobile industry back in the Palm days, 2009. I was one of the ones eagerly watching that keynote address from CES. And I still chafe from the running Flash on your Palm 1.4.5 device. And it was then that I developed my mantra that I still hold today. Judge a phone by what it does today, not by what it might do tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Amen.
True words.
Very true.
Good advice.
That's our new slogan.
Well,
sorry, we're taking that.
Well, that's a great segue to judging a new phone by what it does today.
Sure.
I just got my hands on the Moto G7.
Oh, nice.
Which you might remember a couple of weeks ago, I attended the Motorola, the very austere Motorola G7 event here in New York City, where they rolled out the Moto G7, G7 Play, and G7 Power. And my G7 arrived in the mail yesterday. I haven't had a ton of time to play with it, but I continue to be impressed with it as I was at that event, because given the price point and what the phone is packing and what it can do, I've been complaining for a long time. I've been whining about the $1,000 phone and the expense of the flagships, and say, what about the mid-range? What about the phone when you need to get somebody who's not an enthusiast like we are? People who just want a functional Android phone. And I really think the Moto G7 line is close to it, if not nailing it. So the Moto G7 is a 6.2-inch IPS LCD screen running Snapdragon 632 with 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of storage. It's got a 12 megapixel dual rear-facing camera. That's that little quarter-sized mark on the back of the phone, right in the center of it. That little dot right there. The two cameras. It's got an 8 megapixel front-facing camera and a 3,200 milliamp battery. And you get that for $299.
Wow.
Nice.
$299.99 to be exact. For somebody who's a star, we often talk about, hey, I want to move my parents from iOS to Android, or I want to, somebody, there's always somebody getting their first Android phone. This Moto G7 line, I think, is really, really close to doing it. It's giving you as close to stock Android as you get, not on a Google device. Very limited modifications that Motorola has changed to it. They've only added their own bits of functionality. They haven't redone things that the stock Android does. And the phone feels really nice. It's got a good hand feel to it. And it just works as you would expect a good phone to work. So I'm excited to play with it a little more. I'm going to do a little more thorough review, hopefully in a week or two, because I'm waiting for it to arrive, the Moto G7 Power, which is awesome. The similar phone, but with the insanely large battery. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited about the G7 line. I don't know. Maybe I'm over anxious because of the price point, but I think for what it offers and for the price it does, it's a great deal.
Yeah, it has a kind of a good history of being a well-made phone for that price point. Mm-hmm. Pretty trustable at this point. And
you look at those specs. Those specs were a flagship a couple of years ago.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Cool. So then you're going to get the Power, right? The G7 Power, and we'll hear more from you.
And then Ron
will
be off the grid to see how many days.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go cross country and not charge my phone.
Cool. We love that you do this for the show, Ron. Thank you.
Of course, the little things.
All right, let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode, and then we'll get into some app news, which I'm telling you, this app block, there's some stuff in there. You don't want to miss it. But first, this episode of All About Android is brought to you by Calm. With stress and anxiety, many people can often feel exhausted during the day, right? I know I've felt that. But then it's time to go to bed and you just can't fall asleep. If worry is affecting your days and nights, it's probably also affecting your overall health. And thankfully, there's a way to kind of help yourself work through that. We're excited to partner with Calm, the #1 app to help you reduce your anxiety and stress, as well as help you sleep better. More than 40 million people around the world have downloaded Calm. Over 200,000 5-star reviews. This is an awesome app. If you head to calm.com/allaboutandroid, you're going to get 25% off a Calm premium subscription, which includes a number of things. It's kind of like I like to think of it as like a meditation toolkit. You get guided meditations on issues like, and you can search for these specifically: anxiety, stress, focus, including a brand new meditation, guided meditation every day. And they kind of focus on a new thing every day. So it kind of, it allows you to kind of get in touch with yourself in different ways through these meditations. It's really useful. There's also sleep stories, which are bedtime stories for adults. I'm sure kids could listen to it too, but definitely designed for adults, designed to help you relax before you fall asleep. So you can go into the lavender fields of southern France with Stephen Fry, or maybe explore the moonlit jungles of Africa with Leona Lewis. Matthew McConaughey is there too. If Matthew McConaughey can put you to sleep with his voice, well, here you go. There's soothing music, so you can have music beds if you like to do your meditations by yourself and not be guided through them. Maybe put on a relaxing music bed and go deep. Breathing exercises, gentle stretches to relax your body, and a whole lot more. Like I said, it's an awesome toolkit for allowing you to get in touch with yourself and to meditate and to calm down. That's why they call it Calm, after all. Right now, All About Android listeners get 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/allaboutandroid. That's calm.com/allaboutandroid. You're going to get unlimited access to all of Calm's content today. One more time, calm.com/allaboutandroid. Get Calm and stop stressing. And we thank Calm for their support and for chilling us out just a little bit. Chill out. It's okay. And now I'll speak in my soft, soothing voice.
Let's be calm.
Let's be calm as we go into the app news. Oh, and the music really helps too. Yeah, thank you, DJ. Appreciate that. All right, Flo, you got the...
I'm not calm. I'm sad.
All right, I'm a little sad too.
Okay. Today we are mourning. We are in mourning.
Oh.
So the reason we are calm is because we are sad. We are mourning the death of 4 different Google services that have served us well these last several years.
They've been wonderful.
First on the list is Ello.
Oh, boy.
Thanks.
You guys are going to cry.
I mean, what are Jason and Ron and I going to do without Allo and the assistant to butt in on our conversations?
Truth is, I uninstalled it weeks ago, but that's okay. That's okay.
I still have it on my phone.
I took it off my home screen last week.
I still have
What's
it on
Allo?
my phone.
So what's Allo? Listen, Adam, let me tell you, we were 3 loyal Allo users from the get-go, from the jump. As soon as they announced Allo, we're like, we're going to use this. Nope.
I had a wonderful weekend in 2016 in New York using Allo and a bunch of tech bloggers, but that was really about the last time I used it.
That wasn't enough? What more did Allo need to do for you, huh? It gave you a weekend in New York.
That was about all it could do for me.
Okay, all right.
Allo was only good for a weekend in New York.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the sad stuff. Yeah. We're also mourning Inbox.
Yeah, not really.
I feel like we already more in that though.
Okay, we did. All right. So apparently it has no official date outside of by the end of March. So,
but which could be any day.
Which could be any day, exactly. Maybe it'll die the day Android Q dev preview or whatever comes out.
Yeah, they softened the blow. We realize you guys are really upset, but here, have the next version of Android.
Also, the Google URL shortener, which is goo.gl.
Yeah.
That is done March 30th. Any links that were created with it will continue to work, but
that's good.
New links not happening. There's nothing new spawning out of this one. And then finally, we say goodbye to the social network that never was.
It was.
No, it was. I know. I was just trying to be super dramatic.
Okay.
Sorry. Google Plus.
I just know we'll get emails.
You're right, and I apologize to everybody.
Never was.
It was a bustling. There's a lot of communities who are going to be very sad because they're going to have to move on from Google Plus. And what's the alternative? It's Facebook, but people don't want to be on Facebook these days. I don't know if you've heard, but Facebook doesn't have a very good rap.
No,
these days.
Google Plus.
Google Groups.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are those still around?
I
don't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, oh God, Google Groups, geez, they are. I think they actually.
Goodbye, sweet Google Plus Prince. You will end for good. April 2nd. That's the day after April Fools. And who knows? They could fool us by telling us it's resuscitated on April 1st.
That would be a sick joke.
Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
That would be bad.
So what I find interesting. All right, Allo we've talked a lot about, and Inbox we've talked a lot about, and Google Plus we've covered to death. But the goo.gl URL shortener, that's the burying the lead story as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
Because why even get rid of that? And I dug a little deeper into it. And they announced this a year ago, so this has been coming a long time. But they're transitioning the Google URL shortener to Firebase dynamic links, right? So which are FDLs from their blog post, and I have it here. And this is from a year ago, but I do. There you go, Victor. It's in the chat. FDLs are smart URLs that allow you to send existing and potential users to any location within an iOS, Android, or web app. We're excited to grow and improve the product going forward. So basically, they're getting rid of the URL shortener to allow deep linking within iOS and Android apps as well as web apps. Like this is a huge shift and huge change, especially for developers and for people who make apps and things like that. I think that's fascinating. So
Ron's right. It is a big deal. It's a bigger deal than Allo dying. It's true.
Well, it's less about getting rid of the shortener being the big deal, but the transition to FDLs and making a push to make FDLs. Because if we remember, URL shorteners did one thing and made it allowed us to post a link to Twitter without using up characters.
Yeah.
And
track it.
And track it.
Yeah.
And then they added tracking and that sort of thing. So I'm curious what FDLs will add to the world, and if FDLs will be more consumer adopted or be mainly just for developers, and used within apps. I don't know. I think that's really interesting. That just caught my eye.
Ron's right. I mean, remember at Google I/O, they do so much centered around Firebase and like what it's capable of, and they show you the games that run off of it and the apps that run off of it. And so, I mean, I wonder if this is supposed to actually streamline things versus using URL shorteners.
Always.
That's a good find, though. I'll have to. I admit I knew really nothing about this, so I'm going to have to dig into this after we go off the air, just because this sounds like a really fascinating a transition.
Yeah, but I could integrate. Yeah. Nice. I'm sad though for things that I've used a lot. I mean, Google URL shortener I haven't used as much, I suppose. But
I used it. It was kind of one of those background things.
I used it purely within Google Apps. Like I used it all the time within Google Forms when you make a like a poll or something like that. It automatically shortens it to Google.gl.
Right.
So
interesting.
Curious.
Well, if you liked Pokemon Go and you like Harry Potter, then you'll probably love Niantic's Harry Potter Wizards Unite, which is their upcoming AR, based game, similar to Pokemon Go, but with the Harry Potter universe. TechCrunch actually got to play the game. Of course, it's not released yet. They say it's it's legit. It's undoubtedly it's gonna steal players away from Pokemon Go. Many similarities to Pogo. Also saying though that it's more complex, so there's a lot more of a learning curve
it's
around
not just
this.
It's not just shoving monsters to do the work for you. It's like you have to do all the spell summoning and everything.
Yes, busier maps, they say, filled with brooms, owls, potion ingredients, and lots of things to find as you're roaming around. When you move quickly, apparently you fly on a broom instead of running real fast.
Oh, people are gonna love that.
So there's that. Encounters that involve you tracing a shape on the screen to cast a spell at them, and the better the accuracy and speed, the more damage you do. The encounters will also attack you, which is something that you don't have in Pokemon Go, though they did point out that you can't die. You can, however, run out of stamina and fail the mission.
Okay.
So that's kind of the consequence.
So then you have to redo it.
Yeah, you have to kind of go through it again.
That's fair.
You search for foundables, they say, that all fall into a particular category. So think like magical games or dark arts or something like that. And then you kind of collect them inside of a sticker book to keep track of them. And then certain things are only going to appear when timed to elements like the weather. So certain elements might only appear when it's rainy in whatever your location is, or time of day, or moon phase even. It's nighttime, so these things come out. It's daytime, so these things come out.
What if you live in a drought-ridden state?
What was that?
What if you live in the desert?
Great. Well, then that's a great place to go for desert things, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it is like Pokemon Go, where in Pokemon Go, you get special Pokemon based on your location and
now they're kind of broadening it even further. Does Put your mic on. What's that?
Yeah, they've been doing where you get different ones during different types of weather. Like if it's raining, certain
things are more likely to appear when it's raining versus not. Yeah, that's a cool. That's
very clever.
Like there's one for snow when it's snowing and stuff, which we can't get here.
Yeah. Well, good Tahoe. So apparently it's going to release in 2019 at some point. Although that's what they say. Although I feel like it's pretty it would be stupid of them not to release it for summertime.
Came out in July, didn't it?
Yeah.
It came out during the summer.
That's when a game like this needs to come out, at least in the US.
This reminds me of the Niantic mention reminds me, and I don't being on. I'm sorry if you touched on this, but very recently, the Disney parks announced the Star Wars Galaxy Edge opening, right, in both in Disneyland and Disney World, and an aspect of it which is buried very deep in the coverage of it because they did such an information dump about the rides and all the stuff can happen there. But they have Disney Parks Play app, which is like a little app where you can play games while you're waiting in line. They've integrated that app they're going to integrate that app into the Star Wars land in a similar way to Niantic. What was the first Niantic game? Ingress. Where you can use the app to enable or disable energy ports in the land, which play into the storyline of the land because it's immersive, and you can either choose to help the resistance or help the First Order, and you go to these you have the app. Wow. and it's basically tying in copying what they did with Ingress in a real world environment in the amusement park, which I think is interesting also given this. So
that is such a great idea too, because if you're in an amusement park, especially like that one, you're going to be waiting in lines forever. Yeah, like put the people who are waiting in lines, put them to work.
Have them go find things.
Because you'll run out of things to talk about in line.
Yeah, right. Well, and everybody's on their phones anyways.
Yeah, it's true.
Keep them in the universe, Yep.
Yeah,
it's a really great idea.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
All right.
So this is a big, again, Jason, you gave me the big ones. I feel I got a heavy load to carry here, but podcast enthusiasts might have noticed that friends of the show, Pocket Cast, released version 7 of Pocket Cast a few weeks ago. And unfortunately, and I've seen this spill over into the Twitterverse in my own feed, they've been dealing with a lot of harsh criticism ever since. Basically, the new version of Pocket Cast is a full redesign, and we all know that everyone fears and resists change. Change is hard. It includes a bottom nav bar, which is controversial. Many people are really upset about the removal of the custom playlist feature, and also that there was no warning prior to its removal, meaning people lost their curated playlists. And early replies by Pocket Cast to complaints on Twitter came across as a bit flippant. And friend of the show, Russell Ivanovic, posted the Pocket Cast subreddit and said that they removed custom playlists because the up next feature is essentially a playlist feature, and they didn't want to complicate or duplicate features, and also that less than 1% of their users actually use that feature. Unfortunately, it sounds like it's a very vocal less than 1%. Right. I, for one, have been using the new version, and I like it. I like it a lot. I've got my own personal complaints, but they're not nearly. I didn't have to go to social media to rant about them. So change is good. Embrace it. You'll get used to it.
Change is hard, but it's good.
My big complaint is if you tap on a podcast, Jason.
Okay. Right. Tap on a podcast. Just a random one.
So what would happen is that when there were new episodes in a feed, I would get an indicator on the old version, and I'd have like 8 episodes or whatever. And you used to, in the old version, be able to long tap on an episode and mark as played. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Right. And now you can't. Now what you need to do is you need to tap on the episode.
Okay.
So tap on it and then tap mark played.
Okay. So you've got one more hurdle to jump over.
Because I used to use played or unplayed as my basically bookmarking. For like Mark Maron for WTF, I don't listen to every episode. I just listen to the ones I want to. So the ones I didn't want to listen to, I would just mark as played, and I'd see there are 7 unplayed episodes.
Right.
So, yep.
And there we go.
But I didn't take to Twitter to complain about that. I just adapted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And talked about it on your podcasts.
Exactly.
I mean, Pocket Cast is my go-to podcasting app, but I guess I never used it as deeply as some of the users. Mm-hmm. I pretty much just use it just to find, shows. And my biggest complaint about Pocket Cast is it doesn't sync when I change phones. It doesn't sync like my position and like the Pocket Cast that I've listened to new phones, or at least it doesn't do it very well. So that's always been my main criticism. But I don't know. I've never really done like the custom playlist or really gotten down into the nitty gritty features. I never really needed them. So the redesign did not affect me at all.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's hard for people who pay for an app. Some of those people who paid for an app, especially the last version, paid for it probably because there was a feature in there Like custom playlists, like a lot of the people complaining, I saw a lot of people say like, that was the reason I bought it because that's what I've been looking for. And when you buy an app for something and then the next version it gets removed or whatever, like that can, of course that can upset someone because maybe that was the reason they bought it. But the reality is as a developer, you will never make everyone happy. That's just the way it goes. And you got to do what you got to do. If they had, it sounds like from what Russell was saying, they had true like design. There were reasons that keeping that functionality in there would either be confusing to users or would get in the way of future updates that they had planned or whatever. And when you take a look at the numbers and you see that it's less than 1% of users actually using that feature and getting rid of it makes things way easier for the future,
the numbers say
then I think as a developer, like you just kind of have to make that choice and realize you're probably going to hear from some angry people. It's tough, but you're never going to make everyone happy.
Can't make everyone happy all the time.
Yeah.
Nope. Unless it's me.
One of the reasons to use that up next feature, it does. I've noticed it syncs across devices better, even your position. And it syncs on your Echo also.
That's right. That's new functionality as well, right?
The Pocket Cast app.
Yeah.
It'll pick up where you're at. So.
Yeah. Pocket Cast has that recent functionality inclusion into Echo devices, so it can pick that up there too. That's really neat. So there you go.
There you go.
All right. We have one last email.
Let's get into this email. This is a really nice email. So this is a nice little palate cleanser after the funeral we just had for Google's devices or services. So this one comes from Peter. Peter writes, I'm a longtime listener, viewer, and just wanted to let you know about an app I made called Planter. Perhaps one of you could use it in the arena.
We'll just read your email instead.
Now. Well, we'll read your email instead. It's a gardening app that helps you arrange your vegetable garden and learn how to grow plants. If you've heard of square foot gardening or companion planting, it's great for those. I made the app as part of the Udacity Android Developer Nano Degree program, which I started after Gina mentioned it. Back then, I was a mechanical engineer making nuclear submarines for the Navy and just took the Android class for fun. Very quickly, I realized how fun programming was, and I decided to switch. For about a year, every day after work, I would work on the Nano Degree until I was finally ready to quit my job and look for an Android gig. Thankfully, it all worked out, and now I'm the Android developer at Haystacks, a small startup in the DC area. Anyway, just wanted to give a big shout out to the All About Android crew, and particularly Gina. My life might have never taken the amazing turn it did without you.
That's so
really
cool.
Sweet. Did we forward that to Gina?
That is neat.
No, I will forward it.
Okay, we should forward that to
Gina. Yeah, you're right. We need to forward that. But that's so cool. And, it's a really well-designed app. It's really cool. It's obviously, he kind of explained it all about kind of planting your garden and planning it anyways, as it were. But I just... Anytime someone writes in and says, hey, oh, by the way, this is what I do now, and it's because you guys mentioned this thing on the show, that's such a great thing to hear. You know what I mean?
I also like the app. I showed it to my husband, who is our gardener. He's got to grow gotta plan the harvest for the summer veggies. And this is a very helpful little utility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show this to my wife. We actually do have a square foot garden. So
really nice. That's great.
I want to use that term.
Set location or frost dates to get planting times. Very neat. And I'm sure it will ask for permission.
And as a person who tested a lot of smart sprinklers last year to try and get them on some sort of schedule synced with the weather, I don't have those smart sprinklers in the backyard anymore because when you've got plants, you just gotta manually take care of them.
When to plant? So tomatoes, when to plant?
Too.
Transplant. That's so cool. This is really neat. Peter, thank you for writing and letting us know and showing us your app. Really well done. And I'm happy that you have kind of a new life as a developer. That's so cool.
And we'll let Gina know.
Yes, we will pass this on to Gina. She would love to hear this.
Yes.
Absolutely love to hear it. Let's take a break and thank the sponsor, and then we will get into the arena where more awesome apps will be demonstrated. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Aftershocks. These are headphones that sit outside of your ears. We're used to putting headphones inside of our ears, maybe covering our ears, but either way, you're blocking yourself off to the real world that surrounds you. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you're going for a run and you want to make sure that you're still in tune with the reality that surrounds you while still listening to music while you go. Well, Aftershocks uses a patented bone conduction technology, which allows them to not have to go inside your ears like normal earbuds. So they're not going to hurt your ear canal. They're not going to constantly slip out. They're just super comfortable. They rest gently outside your ear and produce sound by sending little mini vibrations through your cheekbones to your inner ear, bypassing your eardrum. It's bone conduction technology. The titanium wraparound headband is lightweight and flexible for durability and portability. So you can enjoy crystal clear phone calls and music, anywhere you happen to be, and it just kind of stays right where it needs to be. And it's truly something different than what you're used to. These things are awesome. Premium pitch guarantees a premium audio experience with wide dynamic range and rich bass, wireless Bluetooth 4.1 connectivity, and convenient multi-point pairing. So that makes it nice to pair. Also IP55 certified, so you can repel sweat, dust, and moisture if you're wearing these when you work out or happen to be in bad weather. 6 hours of continuous music and calls on a single charge. 10-day standby time, and it charges in an hour and a half. And by the way, there's a hassle-free 2-year warranty, so you can check them out. And if you have a problem, the warranty's there to protect you. And Aftershocks are safer for driving and really any outdoor activities because, like I said, they allow you to hear what's going on around you. So they don't cut you off from the traffic or the emergency vehicles or that that person that's coming up behind you potentially. Like you are tuned into the world and you're not blocked off in your own world. That just inherently makes you safer when you're wearing them and listening to something. They're perfect for running and biking and that sort of stuff. So order an Aftershocks tech bundle now, which includes Trex Air, a pop socket, large portable storage case, portable power bank, and travel tumbler insulator. Just visit aaa.aftershocks.com and use code AAA at checkout to get $50 off. Offer is valid in the U.S. only. That's aaa.aftershocks.com and use code AAA and do that. And I think you're going to love them. We thank Aftershocks for their support of All About Android. And now it's time for the arena. Yeah!
Arena yeehaw.
Yeehaw! It's time for the arena.
Oh man, not that I don't love our Rolling R's Android Arena intro, but I would really love a rodeo version.
Yeehaw! Let's get on down to the Android Arena. I'm way too California to do that. I'm sorry.
Last week, why am I not able to find the poll? Oh, okay. There we go. Last week, we had 3 apps in the arena, and Brave Browser was the winner. 57.69%. So that means Flo, you are on a roll. Flo's on a roll.
It's only because Ron's been gone.
I was going to say, I see what happens.
Squealings was my game. That was second place, 23.93%. And 5217 was our guest pick, and that was 18.38%. So, Ron, does Wade County
have to do the stats?
Right
yes,
there.
please.
All right. Well, listen, it's been 9 weeks since the year started, and I'm really testing the ability to come back from behind because I am in last place with 16 points. But I got to be honest, I thought I'd be deeper in the hole because Jason's in third place with 18 points. So, Jason, what's up with that? Guests are in second place with 28 points, last year's winners. And Florence is sitting pretty in first place with 32 points. Can she hold on to that lead?
Can she hold on?
Yeah.
You're doing good, Flo. So what do we do here?
Well, I'm last.
You're last. I'm the returning loser. And Ron, you were out.
I go second.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
All right, I will go first. Fine. It's me first. My app this week is an app called Wi-Fi Man. I'll go ahead and... it's got a nice little Wi-Fi superhero on front. This is an app that's totally free, no ads, and it's just a really good way to monitor Wi-Fi congestion and not just Wi-Fi networks that surround you, but also Bluetooth devices that are connected around you. It allows you to kind of see Like this is just the main list of all the different Wi-Fi accounts that we have surrounding us where we are right now. And you can see the strength of them, how strong that signal is and all that. Really nice to get a very, whoa, those just took a hit. I don't know. That's not in our studio, I don't think. I think that's outside of our studio. If we swipe over, you can see the channels. And this is where you kind of get a little bit of visualization around where the majority of these networks are actually existing. If you want to isolate them, you can tap in and it'll kind of show you where they are. But this can give you a sense as far as if you're having any sort of interference or overcrowding on a network or whatever. This can give you a sense of just how many different access points are competing for some of those bandwidths. And I just think it's organized really well, really easy to read, really easy to kind of jump into. It could go into TwitOffice and kind of see more details around each individual Wi-Fi access point. Discovery. This is like devices that are around here. Obviously, Bluetooth. You're gonna see my Pixel 3, which happens to be this device showing up here. Everything that's kind of swirling around you. You think there's not much happening in the room that you happen to be in, and then you open up something like this, and I can pull it to scan and kind of get a fresh scan of the subnet and see everything that surrounds me. And then, of course, I can dive in if I need to. And then it also has a speed test, so I can go in here, I can queue off a speed test and see how fast things are moving. And I don't know, I like the look and feel of the app, Wi-Fi Man, and also the fact that it's completely free with no ads whatsoever. And I think it just does what it does very well. It's called Wi-Fi Man. It is free, like I said, so you can check it out and see just how congested your Wi-Fi is that surrounds you. And that's great. Wi-Fi Man is the name of the app. All right, Ron, I'm out of the way. Go ahead and win now.
All right, I don't know if I'm going to win, but I'll try. Do you remember a couple of years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, when one of the trends was the idea of the curated web? And like we had sites like the long departed, that's still around, but Dig and other stuff like that, where the idea was that there's all this great content out there and you can follow people and get recommendations and things like that. That idea I always thought was really great, because the idea of the social network, I hate to use the term, but the social web and people who you trust and people who you can influence, giving you recommendations and ways to discover things, because there's so many things out there. And now more than ever, there's so many different types of media, whether it's TV shows and books and movies and all this fun stuff out there, and no one's really grabbing onto this idea of curating. And now there's an app called Curated, which does just that. Basically, it's a platform where you can recommend things and you can tag them and you can follow other people and see what they're recommending, and you can save them to your list of things that you might want to check out, or you can recommend them to other people. So, Jason, if you want to hit that action button down at the bottom, you can recommend a book, a TV show, a movie, video, podcast link. Let's recommend a podcast. So you can go and you type in All About Android.
Of course. Just a random out of the air podcast here.
Just a random one. Yeah.
Okay. All right, All About Android. Do a search and
there we are. So there we got about the audio and the video versions. Let's recommend the audio version. Yeah. And so from here, what you can recommend a specific episode.
The Slotch was a pretty good episode. We'll go with the Slotch.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
All right, so now it gives you links to go listen to on Pocket Cast or Spotify. Pretty cool. So you hit that button, hit that action button there. Right.
Save.
So now you can either save it to your list, which is kind of like a bookmarking platform, or you can curate it. So curate it. And what it can do is now you can write a review. You can say, my favorite podcast keeps me informed, blah, blah, blah.
About the best podcast about dogs.
Wow. All right. There it is. And you can tag it. So you can type in, you start typing Android, let's say, for that.
Android.
Right? There it is.
There it is. Okay.
So cool. And now curate. All right. So now if someone follows you that you're curated, so tap to see them, your post will now be available, and you can see that they've done that. So now with me as my user, so Jason, why don't you go to Discover?
Discover. Okay.
Right. And go search for users and search for Ron XO.
Ron XO, random guy on the internet. Okay.
Yeah. All right, and so there I've curated one thing, the Expanse, and so you can do that, and or actually go back. I'm sorry. Okay. Tap on one curation.
Here, I'll follow you.
Oh, thank you so
okay,
much.
So one curation.
So now if you go back to the feed, oh well, there it is. You can see I said the Expanse, one of the best sci-fi shows around. But if you go back to the feed, now go back to your feed and refresh it. You should see there it is right there. See, I said one of the best sci-fi shows around, tagged at sci-fi and all that stuff. And so now you can tap to curate it or add to your list, or you can leave a comment about it. It seems to be a cool curation app that allows you to recommend media and have conversations about it. The design is really good, as you can see here. I'm really impressed by the cleanliness of the design, as well as the integration with things like video and other things like that. If this can take off, it's early, but if this whole platform will be dependent on who's on it and who you trust. And so if I start actively using it, and all you folks who are listening to All About Android, follow me and you'll get my recommendations, then it becomes a valuable tool. I don't know if it's there yet, but it's got to start somewhere. And I think this is a good starting point for this sort of functionality, this sort of app. So it's called Curated. It's free in the Google Play Store. It's unreleased as they do that. So they're looking for feedback. They're looking for people to give them kind of comments on how well the app works and things like that. So I say check it out. Follow Jason. Follow me on it. I'm not going to promise either of us are going to keep on using it, but I'm going to play with it. I'm going to try to use it for the next couple of weeks and see what comes of it. So
the Expanse I have not watched. Should I?
Yeah, I'm currently
in
season 2. We're watching an episode a night. I'm like, it's really, really good. I can't wait to go home and watch it tonight.
Cool.
And continue the story.
This is the app I needed to realize that I actually need to watch The Expanse.
Yeah. No, you absolutely do.
Cool. Okay, I will. Curated is the name of the app, and that is free.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So check it out.
Very nice. I like it. Now everybody's going, oh my God, watch Expanse.
Yeah, it's really good, Jason.
I mean,
you're really missing out.
No, this feels like years ago when everybody was talking about Battlestar Galactica, and I finally, after like a few years, was like, oh, so should I watch that? And everyone's like, are you kidding me? You haven't watched it yet? And it turned out to be such a great show.
But this one's still on.
Well, yeah, see? I'm just out of touch.
No.
I'm out of it's okay.
I haven't seen The Expanse either. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, let's make a pact.
Just put it on your list.
I got you, brother.
Put it on your list.
All right. Adam, I have your app installed. So if you want to talk about it, I'll go ahead and launch it and we can walk through it. Oh, I need to sign up apparently.
Yes, you do. Sorry about that. So, little known fact about me, I am a geocacher, which is kind of like the Niantic wizarding game, only we actually find real stuff. So we'll go out and find boxes in the woods. The running joke about geocaching is I use multi-million-dollar satellites to find Tupperware boxes in the woods. So now what Achievement does... Achievement is a sort of an exercise rewards program. So what it does is you sign into Achievement and you can connect Google Fit, you can connect Samsung Health, you can connect Runkeeper. There's a dozen different health apps that you can connect into. And what Achievement does is it very passively gives you points based on the exercises that you do on a given day or on a given week. So I'm, in addition to being a geocacher, I'm also an avid cyclist. So I'll go out and ride my bike for an hour a day during the summer when it's not bone-chillingly cold outside in Chicago. So one of the nice things about Achievement is, unlike Curated, you don't have to do anything. This just kind of does everything for you. It tracks all your health stuff, and it gives you points. Now, you can optionally fill out surveys. Like you'll log into the app and it'll say, have you ever been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes? No, I haven't. And it'll say, thanks, here's 100 points. And basically what you do is you gather up points. And when you reach, I want to say it's like 10,000 points, then you get an Amazon gift card for $10. So, and one of the nice things is you don't have to do anything to get those points. You could just walk. I logged a couple hundred points just during CES a couple months ago, just because, it'll count the number. It'll give you points based on your number of steps, the number of miles you ride, the number of exercises you yada, yada, yada. And over time, now, granted, you're not going to get rich off of this. The points accumulate very slowly. I once went out and rode my bike 27 miles, and I think I got 100 points out of it or something like that. And like I said, you need 10,000 in order to get a $10 gift card. But I mean, still, if you're going out and you're exercising, if you're going out hiking, if you're going out walking around a show floor, if you're commuting to and from work on your bike, then why not get points because of it? And you kind of gamify it with yourself, and it'll send you reminders like in a week. If you don't get any points, it'll be like, hey, you didn't get any points this week, but maybe fill out a survey or something. So it's kind of it's very passive, which is good for me because I'm a fat dude, and it gives you points for things. So if you're gonna go out and play that Harry Potter wizard game from Niantic, you may as well accumulate some points while you're doing it. So that's kind of my spiel.
Nice. It's called Achievement. And I've set it up. I've set it up with my Google Fit account, which you can link it up. There's all sorts of different apps and stuff that you can sync it up with, as you can see here.
Foursquare is apparently still a thing.
Yeah, Foursquare. Definitely.
How about that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got it tied into I want to say Google Fit, Samsung Health, and Runkeeper. Those are like my big three.
You can connect it with Twitter and do a health-related tweet. Make some points off that.
I believe they do actually have sharing codes where if you sign up with, if you'll get a specific sharing code under the My Account tab, which don't go there because everybody will see your email address. But you'll get a sharing code. So if you put it on Facebook and somebody else signs up, I think you get like 500 points or something like that.
Nice.
It's fun.
Right on. It's called Achievement, and that is in the Play Store for free.
Vote for the new guy.
You're a team guest. Last year, team guest won.
Yep.
So you are among winners.
I can't take credit for that, but I will.
But you are automatically part of the team now. So there you go. Great. And Flo, what you got?
Well, I'm still on my kick of trying to find replacement apps for the Google apps that I use. And so one thing that I was trying to replace was Google Photos, because although it's a great app for everything that it does, it's just way too noisy to pop into when all you want to do is show pictures of things that you've done to people. I mean, Photos is great, sure, because it can find those things, but it can get pretty messy when you have a lot of folders. So I picked up, let's see, is that too bright? Let's see. Okay.
Looking good.
Okay, it looks good. Okay. I picked up Memoria Photo Gallery. Now, this is free, or you can pay for it to remove ads. I'm using the free version, and I haven't really encountered any ad problems. So I think something is going on because I actually have purchased the pro version, but I'm showing off the free version. So this is the free version. So you'll notice that it says up here Flows Photos, and that's because Memoria has some cool customizable tricks. I mean, if you really want to create a photo gallery of your own on your phone, you can go to the settings and basically choose which albums are visible that are on your phone. You can choose a security. So what kind of password protection you'd like for certain photos. I used a fingerprint for this one, and I'll show you a demo of that in a second. There's a recycle bin, which I haven't really used much. You can choose from different layouts, so however you like to look at your columns. You can zoom in. There's just so many, I don't even know what to tell you guys about. There's different themes, which I actually really like. So you can go in and select, I'm using the dark, but there's like a retro theme, which kind of does this like cool sort of sepia tone thing. Or you can do like a dark material, or if you are really hardcore, you could do dark AMOLED.
Oh yeah.
Just really get that in. You can also choose your accent color as you like, and mine should be purple or pink always. And so after you've kind of set that all up, you go back, here's your photos. So these are my photos that I have. These are just all of them dumped out the same way they would be in Google Photos. But what you don't know is that I've hidden a lot of photos into the vault to keep you from seeing them. because I don't want them here available to the public. When you go into my albums, you can see like the different albums on here. Side note, the portrait on Pixel 3 is annoying because it makes like a folder for each of the photos. So the reason I like Memoria is because I can actually go in, and what you do is you can long press, and then there are a bunch of options. So you can either pin it if you need to. Let's say it's an album of your cat. Okay, you could pin that, and then you always have those pictures. Or you can go here into the little menu, and you can do exclude, which just basically hides them from any feed, so they just exist on your phone without being shown. Or you can exclude them, or you can hide them. And so when you hide them, they go into the vault. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the vault, right? Let's go into the vault.
I don't know. You don't want to show us what's in the vault.
I haven't put much into the vault. Now I have to remember how to get into the vault. Okay, so you get into hidden albums. You just go ahead and pop in there. It's just photos of my ice cream. And selfies that I took and my godson. So that's about it. But yeah, I just have all this stuff is just hanging out in the vault. And so then when I want to get back out, I just click on home and it takes me to where I last was. So Memoria is it's a pretty simple gallery app, but it's less of a headache. And I mean, there are some cool little things. So like here, you could just long press to kind of like bring it up. So if you're showing somebody a picture, and you just want to have it take up the screen, you could do that instead of clicking on it fully.
Oh yeah. I like that.
You can, as you favorite photos and videos, they show up in my favorites, which is really nice. You can play video in here, no problem. Check out the location on it. Just your standard photo gallery stuff, but without all the intricacies of Google Photos.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I like that it has that vault too. So so once you exit the vault, in order to get in again, you have to
scan your finger, yeah. Or you could do a password protect, or you could do a pattern, or you could do a pin, whatever you want to do.
That's cool.
I just and there's also an easy access camera button from the interface.
Right on.
So if you want to take a picture.
Memoria Photo Gallery is the name of the app. Check it out. Right on. So we had 4 apps this week. You can check them all out, in fact, and vote for your favorite. twit.to/AAA poll 411, twit.to/AAA poll 411. And place
you got
your
the
vote.
411 on the poll?
Get the 411 on the poll. What is Victor's 411? We're waiting.
What is his 143?
Curated.
Oh, okay.
Victor's all about curated.
Oh, he's just trying to make me feel valued.
I already got a vote. Yeah.
Nice.
You are valued, Ron.
There you go. 3-way tie between Wi-Fi Man. Well, curated should be there too. It just didn't register it for this particular preview. I think it's a 4-way tie at this point. It will change. Oh, there we go. Memoria jumped. Flo, this could be your year.
It's
it's only March, but I think you're going to win.
Just trying to make an effort.
There you go. twit.to/AAA poll 411. We'll check in on that next week. And that, as they say, is that. Adam Dowd, really appreciate you taking time out of your Tuesday evening to join us. This was a lot of fun, and we have to have you back, man. Thank you.
I would love to come on anytime. My daughter is always at gymnastics at this time, so I'm yours.
Right on. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate that. AndroidAuthority.com. Of course, you host the Android Authority podcast.
I do.
What do you want to leave people with? Where do people go to find the podcast exactly, or what do you want them to know?
Well, you can go to androidauthority.com/podcast. We are in the process of redesigning that page. Very soon it'll be your one-stop shop for all things Android Authority podcast. For now, you can see a list of all the articles that have podcasts embedded in them, which I guess is as good as we can get. Also, I would like to mention that I am also the host of the Digit Daily podcast, which is a daily news roundup from all around the web. It's not specifically Android. It's all things tech and geekery. So that's fun, too. You could check that out, dgit.com. We have a branding issue. But and on Twitter and pretty much everywhere else, I'm Dead Technology, which is a kind of an inside joke from my WebOS days. And that turned out to be a little bit more true than I wanted it to be. But
you were a WebOS user, or
I was a WebOS historian. I was hardcore WebOS for a long time. That's how I got into this industry. Really.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
So, but I had a buddy who was an iPhone fanatic, and every time I mentioned WebOS, he would say, "I've got Dead Technology," and so I created the Twitter name as a joke, and it just kind of stuck.
It's strange how those Twitter names stick with you over the years. Ronixo, Rayman01. Oh, that flow. How long have you had Oh That Flow?
I've only had it since I entered the word professionally as an intern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, before it was Emotion Riot, and I was not going to go into the professional world with Emotion Riot.
I know, I kind of like that,
even though it's
too.
100% me. But anyway.
I know, right. I love
Fair
it.
enough.
Well, Adam, thank you again, and we will absolutely reach out and have you back because this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was
really
awesome.
Appreciate it. And Ron, it was so great to get you back tonight. I'm not entirely sure whether we'll have you next week or what the schedule will be, but anytime we can get you, we are happy.
I appreciate it. Yes, it's good to be back. I have nothing to promote, so just go follow me on RonXO at RonXO, the aforementioned nickname that sticks. I'm over there on Twitter and on Instagram. Go listen to Finale Podcast, which is at finalepodcast.com, but on a bit of a hiatus because me and my co-host are raising babies. I would love to say I'll be back next week. I'm going to try. I'm working on a remote broadcast location that will be baby free. But listen, having twins is harder work than they make it sound. So It might be a little longer, but we will see. But I'll definitely be back soon. I'll keep you guys posted. Just keep tuning in. You never know when you'll see me. So
you'll be like, where's Waldo? Where's Ronxo?
Yeah.
And awesome. It's great to see you again, man. Flo, what about you? What you doing?
I'm actually kind of taking a little break from the Twitter sphere, those of you who follow me there. But if you want to follow me, I guess I should probably put a link somewhere that you can access it.
Pin it to the top.
I've got a Discord server going around, so if you can find a link to it and you want to come hang out, please come hang out. Yes.
I've not hung out on Discord ever.
It's literally just like Slack, except there's more gamers on it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Except it's less professional.
I mean, it's
whatever.
It's a big deal right
Better
now.
voice calls.
It is. Yes, and gosh, it's so fun. All the bots and everything you can do on there. It's just so much fun. But it's just I'm hunkering down because I got some stuff I'm working on right now behind the scenes. So if you need to keep in touch with me, just come hang out at florenceion.com, and eventually we'll have a Discord link up there and such. I have work to do, so I haven't had time to update the website.
You are busy.
But just check back later this week and you'll see a link there.
Thank you, Flo.
Appreciate
it. And Victor, thank you. Appreciate you, and appreciate you piping in on the show today.
No problem.
Thank you. You can find me here on the Twit. I'm all over the twit.tv, doing shows, or find me on Twitter at Jason Howell. But that is it for this week. Leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us emails at AAA@twit.tv. Find our Android Arena apps list at twit.to/Android apps. There you can find all the apps that we've ever had in the Arena. And it's a pretty impressive list at this point. Show notes and past episodes. This is the place you definitely want to go. If you haven't subscribed to the show, subscribe. There you're going to find all of the information to do so. twit.tv/AAA. It's the most important thing to remember. You'll find all of our back episodes, subscribe links for audio, video. And again, it's so much podcasts are so much easier when you just subscribe to them. Because then we give you the show when it's ready. And then you wake up in the morning, it's like we deliver to you a present.
For free.
For free. For nothing.
Like what in all the world, what can you, like, seriously, this is multiple hours of content every week for free.
That's
Subscribe.
Right. That's what we do. That's the podcast life. Mm-hmm. And we stream live every Tuesday starting at 5 p.m. Pacific. If you want to catch it live, you can. twit.tv/live. But I encourage you to subscribe because you won't catch all the live episodes. You'll need them, your little back catalog collecting over time. So that is it for this week. We'll see y'all next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.